बराए खुशनूदी जनाब सैयदा सलाम अलैहा बुलंद तरीन सलवात अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मदिन व आले मुहम्मद व अज्जिल फरजहु।
ठीक है, they will just have to be careful.
बराए खुशनूदी मौला मुश्किल कुशा बुलंद तरीन सलवात अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मदिन व आले मुहम्मद व अज्जिल फरजहु।
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس أنتم الفقراء إلى الله والله هو الغني الحميد صلوات پڑھ لیجئے So we have started a workshop on Tawheed, on the Marifat of Allah, knowing our religion, knowing our belief system, and we learned yesterday that it is in our aqaid, it is in our usul-e-deen that we have the liberty of asking questions. Okay? Jo furu-e-deen hai, namaz, roza, hajj, zakat, you have the liberty of asking questions to increase your depth and understand the wisdom behind these actions. But you cannot say, I'm not going to fast until I know the philosophy behind it. That is not allowed. But you have the question to the liberty to ask, I will not accept Islam until I know that this is the right religion. Ye haq Islam ne diya, la ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion. You cannot force anybody to convert at gunpoint. And even if somebody converts at gunpoint, Allah is not happy with that conversion. Okay? So today, let us get another litmus test to see how much we can defend our religion. Yesterday, I wanted you to present some ideas or some dalil, some proofs of why you believe in God. Imagine today somebody who does not believe in God comes to you and say, I do not believe in God, and I have my reasons. So let us see if you can break those reasons, right? So he says that your claim is that God created man, right? And the universe and everything. That is what you say, right? He comes to you and he says, no, it's not this. It's the other way around. Meaning, he says, no, it is man who created the concept of God. Okay? And he gives you this reason. He says, you see, initially, man was ignorant. Primitive man, जो हजारों साल पहले caves में रहते थे, they were ignorant. They did not know why things happen. They saw events. They saw solar eclipse, they saw volcano, they saw all these things happen. And they did not know why this is happening. And their inquisitive mind wanted an answer. Because man is inquisitive by nature and he wants answers. And a problem that you cannot solve bothers you. So he solved the problem by saying, okay, so there is someone out there who is not happy at me, and this is happening. That is why the solar eclipse is taking place, that's why volcano is taking place, that is why we have these earthquakes and these epidemics and all of that. And that is how man created the concept of God. Seems right? Or it could be fear. So there were disease, epidemics, even solar eclipses causes fear in the hearts. And they were upset and they thought someone is upset as us and that is why this is happening. Maybe if we give some sadaqah, maybe if we slaughter a sheep, things will get better. And they slaughtered and they gave sadaqah and accidentally the eclipse passed on and the epidemic was over. And then say, well, you know, there was somebody was upset and and you give sadaqah, this happens, and then a few smart people came and they realized this is a very interesting way of controlling people. You scare them of God, and then you can make them give sadaqah, and then you can make them give khums, and you can make them give zakat, and it's a good way of controlling people, right? And that is how religion started. Yes? So that's why he says that I don't believe in God. This is man-made. I need an answer from you. No, now I need you to either you convert or you defend.
Building sort of thing. So you can ask him, if this building cannot build itself, so who is the builder of this building? So this
He
is
would say, I don't know.
No, but we know that.
How do you know?
Because this thing cannot be happen by itself in this universe.
So maybe there are aliens out there who came and made this.
No, maybe if he's saying maybe, then I can say maybe there
Yeah.
is
So
God.
it's all maybe, right?
Yeah, no,
But you're 100% sure.
Yeah.
How did you get that surety? Where did you get that surety from?
Yeah, because of the logic says, if the building cannot build itself, so there is someone.
There is someone. Fine, there is
There is
someone.
someone
So
like
there's
a
someone.
builder.
There's
Yeah.
someone living in Jupiter who's running an experiment here.
Yeah.
Fine. So believe in someone in Jupiter. Why believe in God?
So that maybe if you are believing someone, that someone is your God who created this. So because he is believed that no one's created this universe, but my belief
as far as science takes you, it is that there must be someone who did this.
that someone is God. Like Imam says, if you travel in a ship
You see, someone made this building.
yeah,
Is that someone still alive?
yeah, but we know that
Is that someone still alive?
maybe not.
Maybe not. So somebody made this dunya.
Yeah.
Is that somebody still alive?
Yeah, you can say if because when you build something, you need a maintenance of that thing, definitely. So you need a maintenance for that thing. So if the universe is maintained itself, it means someone is looking after this universe. It's similar to the building and
you can have a maintenance department looking after something, right? And maintenance is needed when it's a bad design.
So this is why my answer.
Anyone else or koi? Yeah, what is wrong with this argument? I would prefer, rather than trying to defend and prove the existence of God, tell me what is wrong with this argument. The person is saying it is your ignorance that yes, there is somebody who created this, but you don't know who that person is, and you jump to the conclusion that it was God. Okay? So you're jumping to that conclusion, right? Or it was because of fear. You were afraid, and when a person is afraid, you can make him believe anything. उसको आप सदका देने का कहेंगे, सदका देगा, उसे उस जगह पे जाके माथा टेको, वहां जाके माथा टेकेगा, जो मर्जी उसे कहें वो करेगा. तो ये दीन जो है वो खौफ की पैदावार है या जहालत की पैदावार है. दिस इज हिज आर्ग्यूमेंट. ठीक है, आपका आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या है? हाउ डू यू ब्रेक दिस आर्ग्यूमेंट?
Your own creation. Who's created you?
Who?
Who has created you?
I don't know.
God.
How do you know?
Because if you see in yourself, there is your conscious. Your conscious is telling you there is something right and wrong. This is not it built in by you or by somebody else. So your conscious is the main thing. I think that you believe that the God has created you, and your conscious, that you go for a right or wrong.
Others convinced? Are you convinced? Yes?
social animals. So we see in community, in with people living among people, you understand things, what's wrong, what's right, and you learn from people as well, what they're doing, if they're doing something wrong, like with the passage of time, people try to learn and then they understand what's right, what's wrong.
So he's saying is you learn from the society what's right and wrong, what's
Yeah.
wrong. He's saying you learn from the society. We don't know, right? How do you know?
No,
You know that because somebody told you.
not
The
somebody
prophets told you.
Yes.
The book of Allah told you.
Yes.
Right? But before the book of Allah, we are talking about the Creator. How do we know?
No.
Maybe that it's all made up.
You have to go back to your origin.
What is the
You
origin?
can't start from today.
Yeah. So what is the origin?
Man is not created today. Man is created when Hazrat Adam was created. And that is in all
You're getting that from religion. You
in
see,
all the
You
religion.
are getting that from religion.
Yes. The religion started from the Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. Islam was there.
This person is saying no, it didn't start there. It started here. It started here.
But now we have to convince them, or the person, we have to convince the person, no, it's not started here.
How do you
It started when Hazrat Adam was born. When Hazrat Adam was created by Allah. He was being created by someone. He's not created by himself.
तो फॉलो कर रहे हैं बात क्या कहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पर आ रही है?
I just want to add
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to add a 2 cents on that. If you see the beauty of this whole world, and you see the balance of this day and night, I feel like there is someone who is this super power, who is the one who is doing all this balance of the day and night and the whole world. So that is somehow the God who is making all these phenomena to happen. That beauty shows that is the superpower who's controlling the beauty of this world. So that somehow gives you the conscious of someone who created this world is the one who is controlling the whole phenomena of that. This is what I feel like.
Okay, you wanted to add something?
I think we need to ask that person who created that fear. Where did that fear
You
come
will say I don't know.
Yeah. That don't know it.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying you fill your don't know with God.
Yeah.
Why do I get malaria? At one point they did not know. They say God makes you sick. Now we know it's a mosquito. So when you have that knowledge, you don't need to answer it with some super being. That is his argument. So with the progress of science, we now know the answers to a lot of questions and we don't need to answer those questions with God. Youth, sa piche khamosh hai. You don't have any answers? Come sit in the front.
In Quran, we recite this most of them, like in so many verses we can see this. It says, "Afala yatadabbarun." Why don't you think? Why don't you think? So, as brother said as well, like everything, like the day goes into night, night goes into day, and then the universe, the proper, I think it's like very small, tiny thing, that's been built by a human being. If you think of anything, like here in this room, if you think of anything, you can't think of a small, tiny thing that it's not built by someone. So how come you think of this huge universe, which is running in very, very...
There's a very good argument to prove that this was built by someone. I agree that I am with you till that. But you're not breaking my argument.
Yes.
You're trying to prove that there is someone who built this universe.
Yes.
I will walk with you till here, but then I will say, but how do you know? So somebody built this, somebody built this, somebody built that, somebody built that light. We don't know if that person, the builder is still alive. Do we know?
No, we don't know.
So then on the same alliance, do we know that the creator of this universe is still alive?
Well, this universe is operational, and
This is operational. This is operational. This has not gone bad.
Yes, yes.
But we don't know anything about the creator now.
Yeah, but if it breaks down, what's going to happen?
So the universe will break down one day, you do agree, right?
Yeah.
And it will break down. Right?
Yeah. But on
The answers are not wrong. All of
Yeah.
your answers are right, and we are going to improve on those answers. I'm
Yes.
just trying to push the envelope here. So
if
to
we-
make you thinking and come up with the answer. That try to break this. Try to break this argument. It's fear that generated it.
And on the other side, like if you think of science as well, science is like if something is static, that would remain static unless external force has been applied on that thing, or if something is in motion, that will continue in motion unless there is external factor that's applied. But if you think of this universe, what's that external factor that's, because of that, this whole universe is running, everything is operational in a nice way. So that's also something, brings us to that kind of thinking.
Try to break. We are again going back to see proof that there is a God and who's there. We did that yesterday. We had the discussion earlier. Today, try to break this argument. The person is saying कि खुदा को इंसान ने खल्क किया है, इंसान खौफ में मुब्तला था, उसको खौफ था, पता नहीं कोरोना में कितने लोगों ने नमाजें पढ़ना शुरू कर दी थी. जब बीमारी आती है, कैंसर होता है, जो नहीं भी खुदा पे बिलीव करता वो भी सजदा करना शुरू कर देता है. राइट? आपने देखा हुआ है ना? तो खौफ, it is fear that triggers submission. So people were afraid, and they were afraid of these natural disasters and calamities, and they wanted some hope. They found hope in the concept of God.
So fear.
There's nothing wrong with that. माँ बाप बच्चों को मॉन्स्टर से डराते हैं और बच्चा सबमिट कर जाता है. क्लोजेट में मॉन्स्टर है, आ जाएगा. क्या हकीकत में मॉन्स्टर है कोई? Right? You can scare somebody of something that doesn't exist and get there some results. So that is what he's saying. He said people were afraid, they wanted hope, and they started believing in a creator.
I think one thing regarding fear is that there comes a stage where one overcomes fear. It doesn't matter what that is.
And those who come to that stage, they stop believing in God.
No.
That's why you have atheists.
In this instance, that's the reversal of it.
Atheists don't believe in God because they're fearless.
That's where free thinking comes along.
I'm right? So I have a convert here. So आप लोगों के answers गलत नहीं है, but you see, it is difficult for us to present our answers clearly because we have not thought about it. And when, especially the youth, they go to universities and colleges and they're faced with such questions and they're not able to answer the questions clearly, they become doubtful on their own religion. देखिए, let us see what is wrong with these arguments. So if, for example, if ignorance is the reason why people started believing in God, what does it mean? That they did not know the answer? They came up with an answer. They assumed that there is a God. Does that mean, now that you realize that this assumption was wrong, they started believing in God because of their ignorance, does that mean that there is no God? Let me give you an example. This is, आपको ये window लग रही है ना? ठीक है, और बाहर light नजर आ रही है. Right? So you think it is daytime. ठीक है? So if you're sitting here looking at the window, you're thinking it's daytime outside. One of you walks to this and you find that there is a cord, and this is not a window, this is an HD TV. ठीक है, ये टीवी था. आप इतना टाइम समझते रहे कि ये विंडो है. ठीक है. Now you know that your assumption that it is daytime outside was based on incorrect evidence. आपने नतीजा निकाला था कि दिन है, अब आपको पता है ये तो टीवी है, ठीक है? तो क्या अब आप कह सकते हैं, can you say this now, that because this is TV, it doesn't tell me about the outside world, it is night time? Can you say it is daytime? You don't know. You don't know. You still don't know. You will have to investigate. You will have to investigate. तो अगर ignorance की बिना पर लोगों को नहीं पता था मलेरिया क्यों होता है और ये क्यों होता है और वो क्यों होता है, and they came up with the idea of God, and now we know that that path was wrong. Can we now say that there is no God? We can still not say that. We will have to investigate. So it's still 50-50 now. अगर ये सही भी है, फिर भी it does not disprove God. अगर बाप बच्चों को डराएं कि there are jinns and they will come and get you, and later on we find out that father was saying that without any evidence, can we say there are no jinns? We don't know. There could still be jinns. Did everybody follow this? Even if these arguments are assumed to be correct, it does not prove that there is no God. It just tells you that this motivation was incorrect, this motivation was incorrect, was not enough to prove enough evidence. Clear? Now, I will take a step back and try to see why it was getting difficult to prove, to counter these arguments. So, what I'm going to do next is tell you the Islamic perspective on why one believes in God. Okay? And after that, tomorrow we'll start with the proofs. Okay? Remember, though hamara actual proof, the actual proof why we are doing this workshop will start tomorrow in the second half of tomorrow's session. All of this is a build-up towards that. I'm not trying to give you a logical proof. I'm trying to tell you the Islamic perspective. Okay? Now, what Islam says is that man, by nature, knows God and has a desire to submit to a supreme power. Now, ye Islam ka, this is what Islam says. Every human being, by his fitrat, by his nature, knows his creator and he has a desire to submit. झुकने की ख्वाहिश भी रखता है और उसे उस खालिक का पता भी है. So let us try to understand what this means. When I say man by nature, fitratan, क्या मतलब है इसका? कौन सी चीज फितरी होती है? What is nature by things that are in nature and things that are not in nature?
By default.
Yeah, what do you mean by how are there any criteria to figure out? Eating spicy food, is it our fitrat?
No. When the baby born, it's our nature that
Those are instincts, thirst and these are instincts.
But it's example. The example for this is that the child when born, nobody teach him that how he have to drink a milk.
Right.
He have to take a feed.
So something is
But
part
that's
of
the
the
nature.
fitrat. So something will be part of the fitrat if it is not taught. It is already it's pre-programmed. Right? So examples would be माँ की मोहब्बत बच्चे के लिए, mother's love for a child. Do you teach a mother to love her child? No. Yeah, through training you can develop it further. Right? The love for justice. Is it part of our fitrat? Right? How? You don't teach them. अब बच्चों में भी तकसीम चीज, if you divide a thing between your children and give one more and give someone less, they will object. Even when the thieves, they divide, when they loot, distribute it, they divide it with justice. Right? So this is nishani, this is sign that this is part of the fitrat. What else? It has to be present in all people. अगर एक चीज अमेरिका में हुई पाई जाए, if something is present in American people and absent in the people of Australia, would that be part of our fitrat? No. It has to be present in all members of the species. Okay? And number 3, if there's something that is present in all members of the species but was not there 50 years ago, आप उसको फितरत कहेंगे? ठीक है? So for anything to be part of fitrat, it should not be taught. हमेशा से रहे, हर शख्स में होनी चाहिए, should be there in all people and should not be a function of time. 100 years from now, love, a mother's love for child was there from day one and it will be there forever. So Islam says that man by nature knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and has a desire to worship. Man has been worshipping things forever, since, and will continue to worship forever. When the Prophet did not come, were people worshipping some things? The prophets did not come to teach them to worship. They were already worshipping. The prophets came to teach them that do not worship these stones and idols. They're not worthy of being worshipped. तो फितरत में था कि किसी के आगे झुकना है. ये हिंदुओं में भी है, ये सिखों में भी, ये सबके अंदर आगे. जो भी कहते हैं कि जो अपने आप को कहते हैं हम नहीं झुक रहे, हम एथिस्ट हैं, वो भी डॉलर के आगे झुक रहे होते हैं और पावर के आगे. So you are submitting to something. The desire, you consider, you mistake that supreme power for dollar or for power or for fame or whatever, and you start worshipping that you don't know. Number 1. Number 2, I made a clip that everybody knows their creator by default. Let me give you an example. You go to a Christian and, not to a Christian, to a Hindu, for example, and say this to them. When your God, whoever you worship, when your Buddha or God or whoever you worship gets sick, they come to our God and our God treats them. जब तुम्हारा खुदा मरीज होता है, वो मेरे खुदा से शिफा लेता है. What kind of a reaction are you going to expect? Why will they be upset then? Why are they upset? Because they know God has to be superior. Who told them that? Nobody wants to worship or believe in a weak God. ये हमारी फितरत में है. ठीक है? हम अपनी फितरत की वजह से खुदा को जानते भी हैं और उसकी परस्तिश भी करना चाहते हैं. अब होता क्या है, जहालत बीच में आती है. Because of ignorance, we sometimes fail to recognize who that supreme power is. आप समझते हैं ये sun हो सकता, it could be the sun, you start worshipping the sun. You think it is the rain, it is the clouds, or it is the earth, or it is a cow, or whoever, or other human being, you start worshipping them, thinking that they are the ones who you know within yourself. Prophets came to teach us that, to correct this error that humans made. Yes, just hold on, let me finish and then I'll get to it. And we have a desire because people have been worshipping things forever. ठीक है? अब होता क्या है, this fitrat that triggers submission to Allah, that triggers our connection to Allah, gets covered by a crust. Okay? When this gets covered by a crust, you cannot connect with your fitra. Its voice gets suppressed. And when that happens, Nobody asked this question. Mother's love, we said it was fitrat, right? Fitri. Do all mothers love their children? Fitri hone ke liye tumne kaha, every mother should love their children. But we find mothers who abandon their children. We find mothers who kill their children. But how can you say it's fitri? How do you explain that? Exception. Psychological issues, right? So maybe she does not know how to face the community with that child. ठीक है ना? अगर वो इस तरीके से बच्चा पैदा हुआ कि वो सोसाइटी को फेस नहीं कर सकती, she will try to get rid of that, right? If that fear was not there, she would pick the child back. So the love is there, but there are external circumstances that prevent you on acting on that fitrat. So the fitrat can get suppressed, depression, and so many other issues, mind diseases. Fitrat tells you there's a God, tells you to submit to that God. Now, because of this crust that builds around that fitrat, there are people who will not be able to listen to that fitrat and therefore not submit to God. That is where the atheists come in. Okay? Now, Islam says, now this crust now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? This is a bad thing, right? Islam says this crust is basically the love of the dunya. The more you love this dunya, the more your fitrat gets suppressed. Okay? You want to become the CEO of the company. If you say the truth, you won't be able to climb the ladder. You want to make more money. If you go by haq and batil, by halal and haram, you won't be able to make money. So because you have this love of the dunya, you try to suppress your fitr. Your fitr is telling you this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. But because you have some goals that you want to meet, you suppress and don't listen to your fitrat. Now, if this is bad, Shariat or the religion tells you that you can get rid of this fitrat by near-death experience. Whenever you are faced with a near-death experience, this goes away. आप जहाज take off किया जहाज ने, और the captain says, brace for impact, the engines have failed. At that point, would you be worried about how much bank balance I have in my bank account? Will I be the CEO of my company or not? What becomes important at that time? Life. At that point, this goes away. You're not concerned about this anymore because you're worried about your survival. Right? And at that point, this goes away. And you tap to your fitrat. And even those who do not believe in God, at that point, you will see them worshipping to Allah. Corona में इसी लोग जान माज़ों पे आ गए. They were worried about their lives. So whenever you face a near-death experience, man is able to tap to his fitrat and he returns to his fitrat. Okay? A near-death experience is fear. Okay? So yes, you were right when you said fear takes them to God. What is wrong? Yes. Fear did not create the concept of God. Fear helps you connect with God. It helps you establish that connection with God. Follow kiya? Any question? Yeah, you had a question.
Regarding this like fitrat, so what was the rationale or what was the like a philosophy behind this Hazrat Ibrahim story? Why he said, when he saw the stars, he said, this is my God. But when he just sat down, he said, oh, it can't be my God because it sat down. When he saw the sun or a moon. So where is that fitrat at that time for Ibrahim, or what is the rationales behind that story, if you can?
Yes, good question. So there's a story of Hazrat Ibrahim in the Holy Quran where he was addressing his nation. You have to get that context. So he was a believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was faced with his nation who believed in astronomy, right? And they all on the stars and the moons and then all of that. And they had that given them divine status, right? So now he is trying to bring them back to their fitrat, his nation. So he looks at the sun, and the sun is up and is shining and bright and powerful. So he says, Haza Rabbi, this is my Lord. It's powerful, it's up there and this and that, right? So he's like saying, okay, let me accept that this is my Lord. And in the evening when the sun went down, he said, this has disappeared. How can he be my Lord when it disappears? He's not supreme. He disappeared. Then he looked, and then the moon came up. He said, this is my Lord. And then when the moon went away, he said, if this was God, why did he went away? It should stay there forever. This cannot be my Lord. So he was trying to teach this nation that if you take sun as your God, then you see yourself that the sun goes away. If तुम्हारी फितरत दलील है, तुम्हारी फितरत कहेगी ये खुदा नहीं हो सकता. So that was the rationale behind it. Follow? So he did not accept it as Lord by heart. He was just going along with them. He said, if you say this is the Lord, okay, accept it, but then this goes away. So he was going back again to his logic and to the fitrat, invoking the fitrat. ठीक है, इसीलिए इंसान जब मौत के दहाने पर होता है, you are drowning, and the Holy Quran gives that example when you are in a ship and the ship is sinking. At that point you connect to God. ठीक है, and you pray to Allah at that time to save you. वो आपको किसने बताया कि वो खुदा आपकी उस वक्त सुनेगा भी और बचा भी सकता है आपको? Nobody told you that. But you do that. Why? Because you know that he can listen to me and he can save me. So it is in our fitrat. God is in our fitrat. And what religion wants us is, religion wants that we are always in that state. वो जो near death experience वाली state थी ना, कि आप connect थे और आपको दुनिया से बेताल्लुक हो गए थे. Islam wants us to be in that state always. That's why we have Hubbud Dunya, that hadith from the Holy Prophet, Hubbud Dunya, Ra'su kulle khatiyatin. Dunya ki muhabbat har burai ki jad hai. Because when you have the love of the dunya, then this fitrat gets covered. When the fitrat gets covered, it can take you to a point where you will deny the existence of God. Okay? Now, given all of that, anything that breaks this crust is a good thing then. And that thing is near-death experiences or trials and difficulties. तो जिंदगी में जितनी मुश्किलात ज़्यादा हों, is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Sometimes we have seen that this is a bad thing. Sometimes.
It is a good thing.
Sometimes.
That is,
some people get away from the God. When you see the calamity, so much calamity in their life, they just reject all the way.
there are other reasons for that. जैसे यहाँ पे exceptions है ना, that is not a general rule. That are exceptions. जिस तरह mother की exception, there are psychological issues and other issues because they have not understood and realized their God. They do not know the full extent of that God. That is why we will talk about that in tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. For example, people looking at what is happening in Gaza and say, right? So, but if they realize why Allah created us and why Allah created this dunya, they would say, Subhanallah, this is how this dunya has to be. Okay? It is perfectly in line with divine design. So anything that breaks this crust is desirable. Right? And trials and difficulties is one way of breaking that crust. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in narrations you have this meaning, this concept, Allah blesses His lovers, His mu'mineen, His servants with hardships once every 40 days. हर 40 दिन में खुदा calibrate. This is a calibration. This is kind of your device is getting calibrated. Calibration is good, right? You take your car to service, right? So your fitrat gets serviced and calibrated when you face difficulties in life. If someone has no difficulty in life at all, they should get worried. We have a story with the Holy Prophet in Amirul Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. They went to one of the companions' house, and at that companion's house there was a hen that was sitting on the wall, and it gave an egg, and the egg fall on the roof, on the wall, and then on the branch, and another branch, another branch, another branch, and then down, and did not break. Tick, 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 right? And he said to the Holy Prophet, my life is like that. I never get any problems in life. The Holy Prophet said to Imam Ali, let us go. We don't want to dine at this person's house. Allah does not love this person. So if you have no problem, someone has no problems in life, Allah has let them live. Allah is not worried about them. Allah does not care about them. So there is, this is the importance of trials and difficulties in this life to connect us, reconnect us with our fitrah.
There are two different kinds of difficulties. One we face because of our sin, one is from God. So
Even the difficulties that we face from our sins is a way that Allah has set up to reconnect us to God. If you realize that this is because of my sin, you will repent. So that again is a blessing. यानी अगर इंसान गुनाह करे और उसके ऊपर अजाब इस दुनिया में नहीं आए, तो Allah has reserved that azab for the akhirah. So that's a more dangerous situation. I would rather get a slap in this world and then fix myself rather than at the time when it's too late. So even that is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ठीक है?
So if we think of atheists, so they also human beings, and then like as you said, like it's in human nature that they think of God. That's in their nature, and then God is superior, but they don't believe in Allah, in God. So I think you already addressed this point. Is it because their nature is being suppressed by
Because
the hobby dunya?
there
love
could
of
be other,
dunya?
there could be many things. One of the reasons is the love of the dunya. One is fame. One is they don't want to submit to rules and regulations. Man wants to be free. Once you submit to a religion, then there are limitations. And because you want to have a free life, you want to do whatever you want to. Right? So there are many reasons why you can.
Yeah, but if you think of these reasons, like nature is more powerful compared to personal reasons or desires. So if something is in nature, that would have stronger.
It will have a stronger effect. It can get suppressed, but then God has His own ways of getting trials and difficulties and putting that person in a life-threatening situation. An atheist, if he is in the plane and the plane is about to crash, he will also say, Jesus, help me. Right? So that is Allah's way of connecting him to the fitrah. But then when he comes offshore and gets back to this dunya and wants the blessings of this dunya, then again he stops listening to it. He turns a blind, deaf ear to his fitrat. Okay, so let us quickly move forward to proof number 1. So proof number 2 is what we are intending to do, but we still have like 5 minutes. So let me write this proof and we'll continue from here tomorrow. ये proof वो है जो आपने बारहा सुना हुआ है, ठीक है? लेकिन you have not thought about it clearly, and that is why you will have again difficulties. So 3 statements, simple. हमने आप सबने example भी दिया था, the proof of organization. ये कायनात, we see uniformity in this universe, right? So this is how this proof goes. The universe, this universe is an organized system. Is that right? Number 2, every organized system needs an organizer, right? So therefore, this universe has an organizer. सुना हुआ है ना ये आपने बहुत दफ़ा देखा बहुत दफ़ा ये बचपन से सुन रहे हैं ठीक है कायनात किसी ने तो बनाई है ना तो ऑर्गेनाइजर होना चाहिए इसका अब ये ऑल ऑफ यू आर गिविंग दिस एग्जांपल्स राइट गुड इनफ आर्गुमेंट good enough of argument to convince there is a God?
Science is like it's a Big Bang theory, you know. It's just that.
So we have the Big Bang theory. So how do you
Yeah.
address the Big Bang theory? What else? Somebody says, okay, why? How did you say has? You should have said had. ये आपको वैसे पता वो ऑर्गेनाइजर आज भी मौजूद है This is still running. Your mobiles are still running perfectly. You have a battery installed. Anything that you see in this dunya that is made by somebody,
Yeah.
you cannot conclude that the manufacturer is still alive.
Yeah, man, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
So things can exist on their own, it seems so. So if this universe needed an organizer, all you can say this universe had an organizer. But that's not what you believe. We believe that that organizer is still alive and will continue to remain alive. Where are we getting that from?
Because things are still getting made. New things are born, new things are being made. So it's not pre-existing things which are running in a sequence. But
What if they're all programmed? You know, you can set up your code such that after 2 days this will trigger it, after 3 days this will trigger it, after 5 days this will trigger.
someone has to manage it, right?
The watch is ticking. Right? आपका जवाब गलत नहीं है. But I think it is easy to counter that. You're right, your answer is correct. This is the correct answer, this is not right. But I'm saying, can you prove that? We're out of time, almost. 1 minute. Youth, I'm surprised that the जो बुजुर्ग हैं वो involved हैं. The youth, they're all dead silence. They're either not interested or they have the answers or they don't have the answers. Youth से बात मेरे like 20s and 30s. No, I just want them to engage in this discussion. They're not participating. You're afraid of the elders here, the uncles here.
यस PSV की यूथ बोलें बाकिर जकी मोहम्मद मेहदी ask questions.
Even if is it even relevant to what is it a relevant topic or is it कि ऐसा तो नहीं है कि it's like what are we discussing this? We really don't need any of this. Yes, so that I would want answer. So how would you argue this? How would you argue that this is right and this is wrong? Okay, good. Good. बता दिए इन्होंने good answer. Anyone else? For example, how would you do that?
The next proof?
For example, yeah.
बाकी जरा रिपीट करो.
I said this proof isn't enough to prove that this universe still has an organizer. You have to go to a different proof. And then for that you'd have to go to a logical proof where you have to discuss creations as a whole. You can't discuss creations as is.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Inshallah, we will talk about this. We'll continue from here tomorrow. Or tomorrow we'll be starting proof number 2. Or wo jo proof number 2 hai, that is where we will start actually seeing how we can show that the organizer was there, is, and will always be, and that the organizer is all powerful, and then all of that things will start getting in place. Okay? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد